Yeah, have them come out. So they come out.
I'm glad she's
How
there.
about you?
Good place to work, I think.
$185 for pumping.
Yeah, they need that.
We're 190.
And she's not stupid. That helps.
Like that.
They hire a lot of them that don't know too much.
And they pump it. It's 150 for
Through school. Made a few bad choices, but a lot of kids do.
Right. Everyone does.
You sold it to me.
You know, I made one real bad one. But I got over that a long time ago. But you know what? Like last winter, for example, I was going to my daughter to do
What time?
my wife for a while, my ex-wife.
No.
That was the only guy that would do it.
I'll shove stock tank heater. Electric stock
Are
tank
you
heater.
down in the Delmar?
Throw it inside the septic tank and plug it in.
Worry about
Forget
it.
about it.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
First December.
I will try to get there.
First tank.
first time.
Throw it in there and
We've been married
all that sewage and stuff like that.
Really?
Water runs all over.
for 18 years.
It's warm. Wow. Keeps that warm also, and it also keeps the line going to the house.
Just married, and all of a sudden, hey, look at what's
Yeah, they had to thaw that out.
nothing molded in our refrigerator. The oldest ones, the twins, me and Rick,
Pump.
were 18 year off running.
What I'd like to do is when she thaws out,
Yeah.
Yeah. But Bill and Roxy were with us for a while.
pumps and does it have to be pumped again?
That and I are having a discussion. If I get back on the board, we're going to start.
Like I'd call in, have you come out and before I plug that pump in, see if
Call it in.
is it that it shows up?
And I had
How would it
Throws up going to the bottom.
I had to trade chairs to that one, this one over here, because my chair was so damn low. All I could see like this.
Or what goes up? Plug the
Oh, these don't.
For right now,
later on.
There's no thing on ours.
Tank, think it's okay out there?
living there alone, they should last.
There's a thing on his, but we call it Everett.
Their whole tank and the should last you a month.
It has lasted. I looked in there the other day and
I do have that.
that baffle where it go into the other tank.
Yes.
And I could see about that much of it.
Any boards do I need?
I'll have you come out.
Have all the deepers. Put down at the bottom. Here.
Just a,
Can I?
This is your.
just a real good wheat beer.
How wide should it be?
4 feet, I think. 4 feet.
Want, I can take his stuff and put it in his meat packet.
You always want it no more than 4 feet.
I took it.
I can reach it.
Zach, I didn't know Bob wasn't coming today.
Yeah, it's really good.
Here to buy all this stuff.
Or paper.
The whole thing, including the box. I don't know how much.
Well, if it's only 6 inches deep, can you grow potatoes in there?
Sure. What you do is
Like if it's not within a week.
Maybe I should
mix it. And the top 2 inches is for potatoes.
Okay.
Size of potatoes, 1 box.
Okay.
Per foot. And then you cut.
You don't have that tap salt mark, though.
Sure. You've actually got lat across the top. And then when that potato gets up an inch high or so, then you put this box that you've made, a square foot, that's 6 inches high, over top of it, and you cover it with.
So it's got more room.
And then when it gets an inch above that,
But thank you.
Can you talk to me about Dennis?
We're talking about, maybe Joe isn't in favor of this, I don't know.
I don't bother with carrots; I just go short here.
Can you plant them sideways?
All the committees like the,
Sideways, you do the tomato sideways, because you put 1 tomato plant in there.
everything like it is. Don't change people around. Huh?
It depends if it's wet.
Cover it.
Yeah. Depends who wins, but, you know, yes.
So you get tremendous ritzes.
I'm saying leave everything.
Leave some of the leaves stick out at the end.
Take about 6 hours of.
You'll somebody. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Did
Like, I did that a couple of
Let's call meeting to order. Mel will do roll call, please.
Mrs. Prince. Here. Mr. Heisey.
Here.
Mr. Tim.
Here.
Mr. Piaski.
Here.
Mr. Eckstein.
Here.
Mr. Wedding.
Here.
Mrs. Palata.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Wales excused. Mr. Crawford.
here,
Mark Kirschner.
Here.
Okay, we will have silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we'll have public comments, and we have three people who have would like to address the county board. The first one is Francie Rowe.
Good evening. Short. I've come this evening to speak to the county board because I want to thank the Land and Conservation Committee for drafting Resolution 110314, which you are going to look at this evening. I support the resolution and speak tonight not only for myself but also for the Waushara County Lakes Council, who had this map prepared. So the map was created with Waushara County data, looking at the property values and the tax revenues that the county collects on our properties. As you can see, if you look down at the bottom, we collect a lot of tax from our riparian and near riparian properties in this county. And we, although no one likes to pay tax, the truth is that we feel grateful that we have an opportunity to have a county that cares about our lakes, rivers, and streams. And we hope that you will support the resolution tonight. We appreciate that the county has taken up this topic, and we also recognize, as the committee did, that the DNR is responsible for watching over the waters of this state. And we're grateful that you, assuming you support the resolution, will take that into consideration, that it's their duty and their responsibility from the public trust doctrine to take care of our waters for all of us. Thanks very much.
Next, Russ Brown would like to address the board.
I'm here to speak on the same resolution, and I too am for the resolution as being presented to you, and again encourage you to vote for it. My comments are similar, that water is very important to our community here, and it's very important to the farms. I'm an organic farmer, and I want the water to remain here for me. It's also great for our lake communities and our businesses. A lot of our businesses depend on the lake communities who bring tourists into the area, and having that water there is what brings them. And again, very important to us. And many of the homeowners have made investments in their homes and their businesses that depend on that water. And if that water goes away, those investment values go away. And we've seen this before. We can look at our community here back when we had 90,000 dairies in Wisconsin, and now we have less than 11,000. And we can see what it has done to our communities, our rural communities, to have these people gone. they have been replaced now by a lot of tourists, and I'd hate to lose them too. So we're saying that this water is important, and I would add to it that California is looking at a lot of water problems, and California is the #1 dairy state when you look at milk production. And they do this with CAFOs. They do this with, they have around 1,800 dairies, while we have around 11,000 here. And of those 1,800, over 95% of them are CAFOs, and they're very heavy water users. CAFOs are combined animal feed operations with more than 1,000 dairy cows. Many of the ones there in California are going to be looking for a new home, and they're looking for a place that has water. And Wisconsin looks very good to them because we are the dairy state, and we're very, we have it on our license plates, and we know that we love dairy here. So we look like we're the perfect place to come. But these are heavy water users, and so I would say that we need to watch for that. And I think this resolution puts us in a good position to give us time. There are the Plover River is being studied again over the next 18 months, and there's going to be results from that to help model what the water use will be here in both the Stevens Point area and down to the Central Sands. So this resolution buys us some time to have the results of that data come forth before we go forward with heavy water use. So I know there's going to be coming demands on our water with the many dairies that want to come our way. So I think this would be a good resolution to pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Terry Tinkle.
Good evening. I'd like to thank Mr. Kirschner and the board for allowing me this opportunity to speak, and I thank you for your time and efforts for our county. I also am here to support Resolution 110314 and ask you to accept the recommendation of the Land and Conservation Committee. I think that they've done a good job of representing the thoughts of the constituents of the county. One thing that I would like to say is I was at a court hearing in regards to high-capacity wells, and a gentleman that lives near a lake out near Plainfield was there, and he was very upset because not only had his well gone dry and he had to dig it deeper, but he felt that his lake was definitely receding due to high-capacity wells. And he said there's lots of discussion about that. He said, but I have a way of demonstrating my opinion. And what he did is he took a cup of water and said that that represented the aquifer underneath Waushara County. And he put one straw in it, and he said this was the first high-capacity well. And then he added a couple more, and he said high-capacity wells kind of started out slow, and there wasn't too much concern. But then he said in the last 2 to 3 years, there's been an explosion of over 700 high-capacity wells. So then he put 700 straws in a cup of water. And I think I don't need to say anything further about the impact that that had. So I ask you to consider very carefully what the Land and Conservation Committee has recommended, what those of us that are here speaking tonight are asking, and that you support this resolution. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, we need an approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion by Weddy. Second by Eckstein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And we need approval of the minutes of the February 18th, 2014 monthly meeting. Motion by Larry Crawford.
I will second his motion.
Okay, second by Bernadette. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we go to old business, and we have none. New business, we will start with reports and presentations, and first is Sheriff Nett.
Good evening. It seems like our incident that happened August 14th here in the city will probably be with a lot of us for a long time. Tonight, there's some more with regards to that incident. Whenever law enforcement's involved in a critical incident, good or bad, however it turns out, we as a group, as a profession, always get together and look to see how things occurred, what went right, what went wrong, what can be improved upon, and that's how we train ourselves and get ourselves ready to meet the next challenge the next day. August 14th, when we were dealing with an armed subject going through the city here, and we wound up in a vehicle chase, in a foot chase, and a subsequent shootout. We requested help from our surrounding counties because we needed the manpower, we needed them quick. When the call went out to them and they knew there was an officer-involved shooting and we had an active shooter in the city, the county surrounding us responded with their special weapons and tactic teams, or SWAT teams. By the time it was all said and done, Green Lake County had their team here, Winnebago County had their team, Waupaca County and Portage County responded with their teams and their equipment. The chief deputy from Winnebago County, when he arrived on scene, Green Lake County asked that they assume command of the SWAT part of that incident. So the chief deputy coordinated the response of those 4 counties that responded with their SWAT people, and I handled the rest of the incident, and subsequently no other loss of life was resulted after we controlled the situation. With that being said, in Wisconsin there's an association, Special Weapons and Tactic Teams Association, so it's made up of SWAT teams from out Wisconsin. First part of March they had their annual convention in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and what happened in Wautoma on August 14th was recognized by that statewide association. Our county, Winnebago County, Green Lake County, Portage County, and Waupaca County were recognized for SWAT Team of the Year. And in this particular case, with multiple jurisdictions involved, very seldom in the history of their association have they awarded a multi-agency award like this. So this is a case where it was a tragic event. It left an impression on the community, left an impression with a family who lost their son, and it left an impression on people in our department. But from that, we gained experience, and we put together our practices that we've always talked about, and we found out it did work. And with that, we were awarded this plaque along with those other 4 counties. And I can pass it around to the board if they would like. But we would like to say this will never happen again in Waushara County, but I cannot make that guarantee. But I do think with what we have gone through, I think our department is better prepared for this type of an emergency. And I hope it doesn't happen, but back in my mind, something like this may happen again very soon, but I think we are prepared for it. Thank you. Oh, one other thing. We are hoping to have a kickoff meeting tomorrow morning at our office, 9 o'clock at the Sheriff's Office. We're planning to meet with people from Priority 1 Dispatch, and this is the company that will be working with us to get the emergency medical dispatching in place. We've had a few setbacks. Some of it's kind of been on our shoulders and that, but tomorrow's meeting is planned as an implementation meeting to get together everything that we need to go forward with this project. So if anybody is so inclined, and if we don't get too many members from the board involved at the meeting, but you're welcome to come, and hopefully we'll have an idea of what we'll be doing when we go forward with emergency medical dispatching. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations, Jeff. All right, next we have a celebration of Grasslands Month. Jennifer Glad, Administrative Coordinator of Golden Sands Resource Conservation and Development.
Hello. My name is Jennifer Glad, and I'm with Golden Sands RC&D. You've probably heard of our organization. We're very active in Waushara County. We've been serving Waushara County for 40 years, along with 8 other central Wisconsin counties. We're really grateful to Waushara County specifically because in Waushara County we have great delegates to our council, Everett Eckstein and Joe Piaski, who's been with us, Joe, nearly 30 years with our council. 24, okay. So our longest standing member, very active, and of course Ed Hernandez and his staff of land conservation employees also very active in our council. So as a result, we have a lot of projects going on in Waushara County, including coordinating your regional aquatic invasive species program in conjunction with UW and Wisconsin DNR, who foots the bill for most of that, and Ed and his staff. We have a demonstration forest site here in Waushara County. We're starting an urban forestry emerald ash borer outreach campaign in Waushara County this year. So lots of great things going on. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is grasslands and the Central Wisconsin Grassland Conservation Area, which Waushara County is part of. Grasslands are a very unique habitat. They're rich in diversity of native plants and animals, including a number of threatened and endangered species that are existing right now in Waushara County and thriving in those grasslands. It's also really important stopover habitat for migratory birds. As those little birds make their journey from South and Central America all the way up to Canada, they need stopover habitat with, you know, good food and hunting grounds and things like that. So our grassland area here in Central Wisconsin that Waushara County is part of is the largest contiguous grassland east of the Mississippi River, and that's pretty important. So one of the things that our organization does is grassland conservation efforts, and basically we're just asking you to pass this proclamation to recognize April as Grassland Awareness Month. We have a lot of things going on in April for kids and for adults and for people to just learn about grasslands, learn about those unique species, and just realize the treasure that we have right here in Central Wisconsin. One of the things that our organization works for too is to make grasslands productive farmlands, working lands really on the landscape, not just set aside for preservation, but part of the economy and part of the landscape as working lands. The other reason that Waushara County is really special in the Central Wisconsin Grassland Conservation Area is because of the Hammerstroms. As many of you know, Fran and Hammy Hammerstrom, and their part in grassland conservation, their part in prairie chicken conservation. We honor the Hammerstroms every year in our festival. We also work with their daughter, Elva Hammerstrom Paulson, who last year gave us the publishing rights to this book, which many of you may know about. And also last year, after being out of publication for 25 years, Fran Hammerstrom's famous children's book, Walk When the Moon is Full, was re-released with illustrations by her daughter, Elva. So we're honoring this book as the book of the month in our celebration and with the Central Wisconsin Children's Museum, and we're really keeping the Hammerstroms alive, their legacy alive in Central Wisconsin. Just wanted you to know also that 6 other counties in Central Wisconsin have either have passed this proclamation already or are considering it this month. Those counties include Portage, Adams, Juneau, Taylor, Wood, and Marathon. So if you pass the proclamation, you'll be joining with those other counties in the Central Wisconsin Grassland Conservation to have a collective voice to say, we think grassland conservation is really important in Central Wisconsin. So I thank you for your time and consideration. Everett?
Certainly.
Absolutely. And I also brought along a number of materials with me that I'll leave out. So after you can pick up whatever you'd like, and maybe Everett, you can bring the rest back when we see you later this week. A couple of different things going on. The kickoff event is April 5th. That's at the Central Wisconsin Children's Museum, and that's our family-friendly event where we're having things for people of all ages. The entire Children's Museum will be opened up to this event, so I think we'll really get a lot of families there, and that's where they'll be featuring this book that I mentioned earlier. On April 12th, we have our event at Central Waters Brewery in Amherst, which is called the Boomin' Brewery Bash. And at that event, you've heard of it, I can tell. At that event, we feature our own label of Central Waters Brew called Boomin' Brew Ale. And the label itself talks about grassland conservation and the importance of grasslands in Central Wisconsin. Also at that event, we're featuring sustainable agriculture. So we're highlighting some farms in the Central Wisconsin area that are really, doing things to promote wildlife habitat and farm, with conservation in mind. And we'll be having a couple of different speakers, 2 live bands, and some really interesting things going on out there. On the weekend of April 11th through the 13th, that's when we're going to be out on the Buena Vista grasslands. That's where we'll be able to take people out in birding blinds. We have birding tours. We have wildlife demos and some things out actually on the grasslands that whole weekend, all 3 days, working with groups like Aldo Leopold Audubon Society, Wassa Bird Club, DNR, Wisconsin Bird Conservation Initiative, and lots of other partners that we're bringing into this event and to the week-long or month-long celebration. Any other questions that I can answer for you?
Carol and I went watched this a couple years ago, and the people that were with us in our two blinds, there are people from Ontario, people from New York State, people coming from all over the United States to see this, and it's just fantastic. If you get a chance, it's well worth it.
Yeah, there are people coming from all over. There's also a lot of local residents that are out there going, wow, I didn't even know this was here. Paul J. Olson Wildlife Area, Mead Wildlife Area, Leola Wildlife Area. You know, those are really good resources that people don't take advantage enough of. One other thing to mention about those events, they are all free and open to the public. We really try to make this as accessible to people as possible. The only thing that we charge for is the birding blinds, where we take you out in a blind. Those we require reservations and a fee, but otherwise all the venues are free and open to the public. So great. Thanks so much for your time.
Next we have the District Attorney's Annual Report, and I believe we all got a handout for this, which I'm going to keep forever.
All right, I've been warned to be brief, so I'm going to intend to do that. You all should have a handout. Literally, the handout should just give you an impression of some of the numbers that the District Attorney's Office prosecuted and how we relate to some of our neighbors in the 6th Judicial District. You can take a look at it. I don't know that you need to be totally engrossed with it, but it does summarize in short fashion a lot of what I'm going to tell you. I guess I would start off by saying all is well in the District Attorney's Office. Calendar year 2013 did see a slight increase, but there was also some really good positives. As you know, the governor increased the Assistant District Attorney's position to a full-time position, so my office now has a full-time assistant. And so I'm really happy for that, and the board actually first nudged them in that direction by being willing to upfront the money, and then the state took on that burden, and we now have that position filled. Stephen Anderson is the new Assistant DA. He's with my office, and he's doing well. The governor also approved pay progression for the Assistant District Attorneys. That's a little bit inside baseball for you folks, but it was a big issue for the prosecutors throughout the state of Wisconsin because there wasn't really an incremental change in pay raise for a while. This governor gave it back to the Assistant District Attorneys, and so from our perspective, things are going in the right direction, and we are really happy. I am really happy to have another person in my office. So, the case volume for 2013 was up, slightly up. It's kind of summarized in that form that you have in front of you. I guess what I would say is that the general, position of that data is to suggest that WSHERA had approximately a 10% increase in criminal caseload from the year prior, that being calendar year 2012. WSHERA had a 10% increase. Of note about that is that we really would have the highest increase of anybody else in the 6th Judicial District, if I've done my math correct. WSHERA saw a rather large increase. Some of our neighbors, such as Green Lake County, Marquette County, Green Lake County saw a significant decline, at least in felony filings and in misdemeanor filings. So we're staying alive here, obviously, very busy. And as it relates to other counties, when you look at the county that you preside in and the amount of criminal cases that we have here, we have a significant criminal caseload. There's no doubt about it. And I think when the other counties talk to us and we collaborate and the DAs meet, it's really well known that that WSHERA County has a significant caseload here comparative to, for example, Marquette or even Green Lake County. All in all, about 800 criminal case filings were filed by my office last year. It's about approximately 800. 194 of them are felonies. I always note them because the felonies are a little bit more significant. Those are the cases for which people can go to prison, and those are the cases that usually take a lot of time and attention. My office also had processed 3 homicide cases. One was an OWI, one is still an investigation, and the other one is a homicide by blunt force. That matter is still going on, and we're still processing that. About 601 misdemeanors were filed. Misdemeanors could be anything from criminal damage to property, possession of THC, batteries that don't involve broken bones, and a lot of your OWI offenses are in there. Your second and third offenses, fourth offenses, non-5 years. We're also responsible with taking care of all the traffic citations that come through. Not every traffic citation is contested. There's quite a few of them. think there was 2,969 traffic citations that came through. The office had to process them, and then 335 forfeitures. Forfeitures are like county ordinances, DNR citations and the like. And we were responsible for processing them too. So the bottom line is it was a busy year. We were able to handle it. I did get a new staff, and so I can gripe. I'm happy to see that things are going forward, and we're staying busy, but we're able to handle it. Changes. Last year we did take back the prosecution of worthless checks. For a time period, we'd always prosecuted worthless checks, but for a time period we had submitted those checks out to a collection agency to try to work with the parties to try to see if they would pay, and if they didn't, it'd come right to the DA's office, and we would prosecute them. Rather than go through a private collection agency, we've taken them back in-house. My office now tries to deal with the people that issued worthless checks directly. If they don't, then we go to Plan B, if you will, and we prosecute them directly. But we're doing that in-house, so that's a bit more work, but so far it's working out pretty well, and hopefully at the end of the day, we're able to get the merchants their money back as quickly as we can, because that is really the goal at times, to make sure that these people pay what they owe to the merchants in Waushara County. Looking forward to 2014, this calendar year brings all its challenges. One of the more important things is that Waushara County and the Clerk of Court's office and Judge Dutcher have put forth and wrote a grant for the TAD program. That's a treatment and diversion program. I think the intent for the clerk's office, the judge's office, and my office is to bring this program online somewhere around September, maybe early fall of this year. The treatment diversion program is really, everybody's heard about drug courts, if you will. This is a bit more beyond that. This takes into not only addiction, it also takes into account some mental health issues. We're hoping to bring in persons who commit crimes that also may be veterans with PTSD issues. Before, what we were doing is we were placing people directly on probation and placing the burden on probation and parole to simply deal with somebody who committed a crime after they had an addiction or had some mental health issues. The program is really supposed to be a much more intensive, hands-on, I guess, treatment-based approach to the offenders. And so we're literally going to be setting aside a morning every week to meet with some of these people that have been, number one, convicted, number two, placed in the program, and number three, seeking treatment and trying to follow through with a series of rules. We used to just place them on probation, and then the judge and I would go away. But now for some of these people, we're going to bring them in, and every week we're going to have a coordinator that talks to us about how they're doing, what they need, what their assessment is. It's trying to be much more hands-on to see if we can get a handle with some of these issues that involve, or excuse me, some of these offenders that are committing crimes but also have addictions and mental health issues. It's an attempt to try to address those underlying issues rather than simply place them on probation. Hopefully in September that will go online. Any questions? Any concerns? Any thoughts?
How long have you been in office, Scott? Here.
8 years. Yeah, I think elected in November '06. So I lose track. I'm having so much fun.
There you go.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I had more hair then, so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, for Council, Ruth Sowski will give her annual report.
Well, I was considering opening the door so that the vacuum noise would outdrown me, because that would probably be easier for you to hear than what I have to say. But the good news is that I am the last annual report for this cycle. So next month, you start all over. So you've heard everybody at least once. As I was putting together the final touches of my notes for tonight, Donna Lee sent me up a memo that said I was $17,000 over budget last year. And I was thinking, well, that's not so good, until I realized that in that same line item, I'm about $20,000 over budget already this year, and it's only March. So the $17,000 comes basically from 2 cases. So that's kind of where we started. Looking back, the last written report that you got from me was in 2000, for the year 2011. So what's happened since then? Well, back in 2011, I reported that we were in the middle of a lawsuit with an individual who was alleging that the county took part of his property to reconstruct a bridge. 2014, we're still in the middle of that lawsuit. We did get a decision from the circuit court, which, although made me over budget, I thought was a fair resolution. However, that decision has been appealed, and so now maybe we'll get a decision from the Court of Appeals by the end of this year, but I'm guessing maybe we won't get that till 2015. We had I previously told you about a claim regarding a motorcycle accident with some painting granules that from the beads, painting beads from the highway. That case did settle in our favor. The court dismissed it and said the county had no liability, and they did not appeal, so that one's closed. We had a claim from an individual who had an accident with a snowplow, and our insurance company and his insurance company settled that matter, so that's closed. We had a claim that an individual filed alleging false arrest and false imprisonment. He was going to sue everybody, us, the former sheriff, the county, the city of Wautoma, a city of Wautoma police officer, all kinds of people. He is currently facing felony charges stemming from that incident. That case is still pending, but he has not filed a formal claim against any of us, and so the insurance companies closed that file. We received another claim from an insurance company relating to another accident with some highway vehicles. That also settled between the insurance companies, so that's closed. We received a notice of intent to file a civil rights violation against our Human Services Department from a parent of a juvenile who was a client. No formal claim has been received, and the insurance companies closed the file on that. And then we received a notice of claim against EMS in the county relating to an accident that a former employee had with one of our EMS vehicles. That file's still open, and after doing some medical reviews, our insurance company has informed me that they're going to be making a settlement offer, so we'll see if that gets accepted or not. As you know, my office does a lot of collection work for the counties. The good news is in 2012, we received $22,621 from the Tax Intercept program, and in 2013, we received $31,926 from Tax Intercept. The bad news is that we still have over $400,000 outstanding that are just the amounts that are in credit tag and in the TRIP program. So that doesn't include anything that's still in process either at EMS, Human Services, Highway, or any of the other departments prior to coming to me, or the files that I have in my office where people are actually making payment plans, and so we have not credit tagged them or taken their taxes or any of the money for clerk of courts. So I'm sure that money is a lot larger. So even though we are making significant efforts, there still isn't a lot of money outstanding. The Department of Revenue has added another collection piece that we're going to be looking at. We just signed and filed the memorandum of understanding with them this week. It is one step above the Tax Intercept program. Department of Revenue apparently is becoming a collection agency, so they must need revenue too. And you have to pick and choose whether you're going to put it in the Tax Intercept program or you're going to put it in this other collection process. And if you put it in the other collection process, they say that they'll garnish wages and they'll send monthly statements and they'll do all this follow-up work. And then they also will intercept the taxes and they will give that to you. There's no fee to us. They charge a fee to the individuals who they collect the money from, like they do with the Tax Intercept program. It would be a larger fee because there'd be more working. I think we're going to be very careful about which items we send to that, because a lot of the people that we have in Tax Intercept and that we're doing collections on, we know that they're not working, or we know that they are working for cash, or their employment is very unstable, and so you're not really going to get a benefit from garnishment and things like that. But we're looking for more ways to increase that. And I guess that is all of my great news for today, unless you have any questions.
Questions of Ruth? Thank you, Ruth. Right now we have discussion and possible action items, sheriff, coroner, and clerk of court compensation for 2015-2018 term. You want to explain this, Deb? Okay.
Executive Committee. Rolly Handel is our current coroner, and he came to the committee and he asked that there be some consideration that he get a salary along with his per call to offset the time that he has been putting into the job. And so the committee did consider that. And so the very first item on here, it shows you what currently is happening. The coroner gets $54 per call, a $10 filing fee, and a $25 cremation fee. So it's on a per call basis. What he's asking is that we add a salary to that. And so the amount of $10,000 was suggested, and then that particular line item would increase by 1.5% each year. We did some comparables. We looked what was going on around us in Green Lake and in Marquette County, and even with adding that $10,000 salary, we're still just in line with what they're paying their coroner. The sheriff, the recommendation is, we looked at statewide averages, and the recommendation is to give it a 1.5% adjustment in each of the 4 years of the term. The clerk of courts, again, we looked at the statewide averages, and we found out that we are somewhat behind in what the state is paying for clerk of courts. And so to get that item to where they felt it was competitive, they would suggest a 4.25% increase the first year and then a 1.5% adjustment in the following 3 years. Okay.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do. I just heard something recently within the last day or so that there's a possibility that there's going to be some special certification requirements for coroner. Have you heard any of that, Ruth?
They're talking about it. They're talking about changing the state laws to say what is going to result, what kind of education you have to have, what kind of classes you need to keep up with, like continuing education things. There's been some incidences in other parts of the state where the individual who's the coroner, they're saying that because of their lack of formal education, they might have missed things. So they are looking at that. It hasn't gone anywhere yet. It's something that's still in the study group, and I don't know that it certainly isn't. It's not going to pass in time for this election because that election is coming up in November, and people have to take out their papers in April, and so you're not going to have to, we might have to do some classes after the fact, some continuing education things, but the other requirements won't fall into this one. So there are some, the coroner is one of those positions that it can be elected, or you can do an appointed medical examiner. So some counties are doing that instead of having a coroner. So that's something that's always evolving, and we'll have to keep our eye on it. I would note, though, that not just recently you had passed a fee for the coroner for report writing, and that he would not get that any longer with the salary. That would be included in the salary.
Is that what that filing fee is listed there?
No, the filing fee is different. That's for the filing of the death report or the death certificate, and that comes with the fees you pay for your death certificate. You have to pay to get your death certificate. He gets a part of the fee by statute, and the county gets the other part of the fee, and the state gets part of the fee, and so that's all divided up. But we were going to give him $40 for every report he wrote. We won't be doing that anymore. He'll just get the salary instead. That'll cover his report writing time, and all of the money that we charge for reports then will go into his revenue line item.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
There's other offices that are going to be elected at the county level in fall, right? No, just these three?
Just these three. The treasurer, the county clerk, the register of deeds are on the other cycle. So they will be elected in 2 years from now.
All right, we need a motion to approve. Motion by Kirschner, second by Eckstein. All in favor? Opposed, same sign. All right, consideration and possible action on the following resolutions and ordinances.
Resolution number 11-3-14 regarding Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources current and future reviews of high-capacity wells.
Motion by Piaski, second by Eckstein. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution number 12-3-14 relating to the Waushara County Plan of Library Service 2014.
Motion by Larry Crawford, second by Bernadette. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution number 13-3-14 acknowledgement of Corporal Shane Stahl's service to and retirement from Waushara.
Madam Chair.
Motion by Kirschner,
I second.
second by Weddy to approve. And Shane is with us tonight. So a verbal thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance number 576, ordinance amending Waushara County Codes numbers 1842 and 58.
We need a motion.
Madam Chair. I would move to approve the ordinance.
Motion by Weddy, second by Eckstein. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign.
Ordinance number 577, ordinance amending Waushara County Code Chapter 58.
We need a motion. Motion by Piaski, second by Kirschner. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Proclamations designating April 13th through 19th, 2014 as Telecommunications Week. I'm sorry, Communicators Week. And designating April 2014 as Grasslands Month. Motion by Heisey.
I will second.
Second by Bernadette. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, do we have any suggestions for future agenda items? Yes.
Getting a lot of letters from people in the city about the senior center and how it relates to the kitchen. I'll address that. I mean, they're calling for a referendum vote. I don't know if I would agree with that, but I'm just saying that maybe we want to.
Deb Pavela and our Commission on Aging department head, and also the commission chairperson, Warren Brewer, are going to go out and meet with the board at the senior center tomorrow, and maybe we can get some understanding. I'm getting the same letters, and we'll try. We're working with them, or Commission on Aging will be working with them to get some, I guess I want to say, to straighten things out, because a lot of the things in the letters are not necessarily true, but that's how things go. So they are going to go out there tomorrow and meet with them and try and get things straightened out. Okay. Anything else?
Next month's meeting will be in the day, I believe, correct?
Yes. 9 o'clock.
So everybody knows that. 9 o'clock next month.
Reorganization meeting, so that one we should prepare to be there a little bit longer.
April 15th,
April
correct?
15th.
Anything else? Motion by Eckstein to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second by Weddy. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, God. I've been doing this all the time.
Oh, your lane break?
Yeah, yeah.
You're in the middle.
Yeah. I wouldn't be the first first time, Larry.
No.
Unfortunately.
It won't be the last.
There's this stuff. Well, these are from the ones that Kirschner and Tim had to sign also.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I've gotten a bunch of letters too.
I've been trying for
I
24
also got
years.
letters from the town chairman of Leon.
DMS all the time.
Morris.
Yeah, that's
See, that's put on hold for a